of you come this way?
We're coming, they're coming.
We're good? Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, we wanted to take the opportunity to thank all the vendors for being here today and to thank all the vendors for what they do for us at Awards Associates. We get a lot of great discounts, a lot of great service, a lot of great help. If you're a vendor, raise your hand, wave it in the air. And Sid and myself and all the Awards Associates members, we want to say thank you for everything you've done for us. We really do. We really do. And we want to say something nice about you too, Sid. The Awards Associates members want you to know how much we feel about you. So since we got you up here, I hope you don't mind if we do that. Okay?
As long as I don't have to take my hat off.
You don't have
No, we're going to let you keep that hat on, Sid. And it's so nice that Sid is one of our founding members, is still with us. What a pleasure that is to have people that started this group and have all that history and that tribal knowledge and is as passionate as what Sid is. I know a name that's come up in the group as a supplier, kind of like Sid, is Ed Hunt. Where's Ed Hunt? Tell Ed to come on up here too. We got to get him up here because Ed's one of the suppliers that's been around for a long, long time. I know John Keegan was saying that Ed was dealing with John's father. And so we'd like Ed just to come up here just to be recognized as well. And it's so nice that as you see all these different generations, the young folks and the older folks, and us all coming together as one group. Ed, this is Ed. Let's give Ed a round of applause here as well. Ed did a great job in his presentation today and just been a classy supplier to all of us. So we want Ed, stay up. We want to just say a few words about Sid here. Now, I think I got the microphone because I'm the token Canadian in the group, and I don't know how many of you know this. But Sid is a Canadian. I don't know how many of you knew that. Sid grew up in about an hour away from where I live in Hamilton, and he worked in the steel mine or the steel industry for a while. Actually, he tried to get into mines, and he went for an interview. And when he went for this interview, they said to him, and the guys that had told him to go to this mine to get a job because it was one of the best paying jobs around, they said, when you get there, they're going to ask you 3 questions. They're going to ask you, you got any experience? And you say, yeah, you've got experience. They say, how far have you been down in the mines? About 3,000 feet. And if you're going to work overtime, just say, yeah, you'll do that. So Sid got in there for the interview, and they said, so what experience do you have? Well, I've got experience. I've been down in the mine before. How far have you been down? It's about 3,000 feet. He said, will you work overtime? He said, definitely. He said, okay. He said, we can probably start you on Monday. He said, you got one of those hats with the light on it? And Sid said, no. He said, how come? He said, because I used to work the day shift. So he got kicked out of that job, and they put him in the steel mine. So when he went in the steel mine, he thought, I'm not doing the rest of my life. I'm going to do something different. So he started getting around. Somebody was talking about bowling trophies or whatever, and he went and figured out how to get trophies for this particular customer. And that's how he got started in the industry. And this was back in the 50s. And so he would take trophies in his car and he'd go around, he'd sell them. He had restaurants in Niagara Falls. He had a drive-in theater in Niagara Falls. He was one of those entrepreneurs that, you've heard the saying, there's no traffic jam on the extra mile. This is the guy. And we all learn from him every day. I remember when I got in the group, which was 1990, we really connected. And Sid pulled me under his wing, and he taught me a lot of things. And I'm sure a lot of you have got similar stories that I had. He still goes into work every day. And for you guys that are pushing 50 and 60, this guy's into work at 9 o'clock, and he doesn't leave till 7. And Bill told me that. because he said he still is very, very passionate about his business. Now I went down to where were we? Tampa, and I called Sid up and I said, I'm coming down. I said, what are we going to do? And he said, come on down to my shop, and he said, I'll take you through on a tour. Well, it's like a history tour when you go through there, because there's every piece of equipment that's ever been in our industry. And when Darwin was talking today about getting history, I thought, boy, oh boy, if we just use Sid's shop, we would get a ton of history from all the equipment and all the inventory that he's got in there. But he's just a gem of a guy because he always makes time for you. And I think that's what's special about our group. Seems like when we connect with each other in our communities, when we get together, we always make time. But Sid is one of those guys, and he's got a favorite restaurant that he takes you to, and you have a nice meal with him. And he said, I was going to take you home. And he said, the way it works at home is, when I get home, I throw my hat in. And he says, if it doesn't come out, we go in and have supper. If it comes back out, we go for a beer. And so we didn't try that, but he said, we might be able to do it next time. So anyways, what do I want to end with? I was thinking about a story that I wanted to tell about Sid. Was just I'm leaving it here right now. Yeah, so anyways, I just want to, I know what it was. When I went to his, he is very passionate about our business. But the word classy really comes to mind. Because we're driving by the Boys and Girls Club. And Sid had donated some money to the Boys and Girls Club. I mean, the less fortunate kids in our community. And here's Sid has given some money to renovate this building. And they honored him by putting his name and Mary Ann's name on the outside of the building. So here we got a philanthropist in our organization that's given back to the people that's helped him. And I thought, what a classy guy. So Sid, it's just been a real pleasure to know you, to be part of this group, and to honor you tonight. So I'm going to pass the microphone over to Rick.
Thanks, Jim. Good job. They asked me to speak a little bit about Sid, to tell some funny stories. I don't have many funny stories unless you look at Sid. He's funny about but I will say, thinking back, it's been a long time. I don't remember how long it's been when I first got in the group, between 35 and 40 years. And the one great thing about Sid is, and it's a lot of our members, but Sid's especially, is Sid's has always been one of the bigger members. And it wouldn't make any difference if you're the littlest guy in the world. If you cared about the industry, and if you helped Sid in any way, Sid would go overboard and help you. He would never throw at you that he does more business or how he buys more than anybody else, and that's the great thing about our group, and Sid is really the special guy on that. A couple stories. Right these. A general manager who really was great. Her name was Dolores. She passed away about 4 or 5 years ago. And Dolores had a real deep voice, and she ran the business. And so at one meeting, Dolores and Mary, the other girl that used to come to the meetings, and we were going to go out for dinner, and Sid had to go somewhere with Mary Ann. So he made a mistake, and he gave Dolores the credit card. And so we went out to dinner, and about 8 of us the next day all went up to say, "Oh, great time, Sid. Jesus, thanks a lot. It was a hell of a deal. I mean, you really shouldn't have done it." Dolores almost lost her job. There was another time that, this is one where we were dealing with an old company, Express, and they used to make that toner for the machines we used to sublimate. And so we were negotiating with Express, and so Chuck Brown says, "I want you to fly down here, and we're going to negotiate with one of the guys." And so I said, "Okay, fine." So he brought Sid over, and Betty Williams flew down. So the 4 of us met with this sales manager for Express, and Chuck put us up to a big hotel. It was a little Motel 6, and we were around. And I was sitting in Sid's room afterwards, and I'm sitting there with Mary Ann was there, and we're sitting there, and it's about 11:15 at night, and Sid says to me, "Are you hungry?" I said, "Yeah, I could eat some food." He goes, "Well, let's go to McDonald's." I said, "Okay." So I said, we get in the cab, we start walking. I said, he says, it's right down the street. Of course, Sid, right down the street is 3 miles away. So we start going about 2 blocks, and I said, Sid, you know, they're gonna close at midnight, probably. We've gotta go back. So we raced back, got in the Cadillac, whistled down to McDonald's. It's about 5 minutes to 12. We go through the drive-thru. So he says, what do you want? That's what I ordered. He says, well, here's what I want. And I want a 1/4 pounder with cheese, and I don't want a stale one. I want it fresh. My last story, we had a meeting in St. Louis. We got 3 of them there. And the last one we had, they never asked us back after this. The last one we had, we used to have a cocktail party like this, but it was much smaller. And we were in the top of the hotel. And we looked around twice, and it was like 9 o'clock, 9:30, and we hadn't had dinner yet. So I went, oh my gosh. So I figured I had to go, and it was cold, it was in February. We had to go someplace that was close downtown. So I figured, if I call the best restaurant we had, which was Anthony's, and it's right across from the ballpark. And I mean, it's expensive, it's nice, first class. And so I called him up and I said, what time do you close? He goes, we close at 10. I said, oh, it's a shame. He goes, what do you mean? I said, well, he said, how many do you have for dinner? I said, 24. He says, we'll stay open. I said, okay. So we get over there, and they were just winding down, and you couldn't go in the place without a coat and tie. It was big time. And I got Sid, who's had about 10 drinks, and he's running around with his shark hat. It's a stocking hat. It's one of those, he always likes crazy hats. He's got a tail, a head, and a fin going up here. And he's running around all this place. And a couple of the guys came out. Jay Randolph was one. He's a big announcer. And he says, Rick, is this guy with you? I said, yeah, he was. I never got invited back. But those are my 3 stories about Sid. But Sid's a great guy. He's always been great to the group.
In Cincinnati, Sid tells me, I got on the elevator with this group of people, and this one girl had a bare midriff. She had a belly button ring. And he said, I looked at her and said, you must be a belly dancer. She didn't respond. But as the elevator went up, people got off until it was just Sid and that girl. And she turned to him and she said, in fact, I am a dancer, and that's just one of the things I do at this hotel. And I have an extra 15 minutes. And Sid said, he said to her, honey, at my age, it takes a lot longer than that. Now, before I give you a chance to rebuttal, we want to show you how much we love it. Awards Associates members, hats up.
Chrissy, don't worry, I'm not retiring. Or should I say that the wrong way? Chrissy, don't rejoice, I'm not retiring.
That's where she has a credit card.
No credit card, sorry.
Where's mine? I was just
That's what I feel like, this is retirement, and I'm not ready to retire. Sorry. So, anyway, thanks everybody. I feel like somebody special today.
Thank you, everyone. And thank you for being part of our